Hello everybody, we're back at Thomas's house today and I'm going to show him how to replace a light switch and an outlet. So for the first step, we're not going to be replacing this while the power's on. We're going to find the fuse box, which it is, and not a breaker box, and cut the power to this switch. So Thomas, do you want to grab the non-contact voltage tester? So this is how this works. Turn it on, find the hot wire, it'll beep rapidly, and that means there's power coming to this switch here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go switch breakers down in the basement, and Thomas is going to hold this on that hot wire, and when it stops beeping, that means the power is no longer running to this. You ready?
Yes. Something I can do.
So it's easier to switch breakers and test for power with a buddy or somebody in your house rather than having to run up and down the stairs all the time. And it also helps having a cell phone. So I called Thomas and I'm going to start unscrewing some of these breakers and he'll tell me when it's when the power has been cut. All right, you ready, Thomas? Now, if this was a modern circuit panel with breakers, I would just be flipping switches. That's the furnace. Basement.
The one you just did, go back. Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's it. The last one, at least in this box. So I'm gonna completely remove this just so it doesn't make contact. And we're gonna head back upstairs. All right, I'm coming up, Thomas.
Hey.
So now that we have the power cut off, it's always nice to double check. There's no power coming to the switch, so it's now safe to remove. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is remove the switch from the wall. I have this insulated screwdriver that protects you up to 2000 volts, but since there's no power, Thomas is opting for his ratcheting 6-way screwdriver. So Thomas, begin removing the switch. I can see it's been painted over. You may want to take a knife to the head of that screw. Cut out any gunk.
Oh, good thing it's getting painted.
Okay, so now we're ready to remove the switch and replace it with this. So Thomas, take your screwdriver and remove both screws. They should be able to back out all the way. Let me know if you need a longer screwdriver.
Take it out all the way or just
Yeah, until the screw is come on.
dusty?
Very dusty. Okay. Try to remember which side goes where. On a switch, it doesn't really matter too much because it's just interrupting the power flow. But you typically want to put it back as it was because you know it works that way. So this switch here is pre-wired for a 3-way switch, and since we're replacing a single pole switch, meaning there's only one switch in the circuit, you can omit the, I guess the pre-wired common or traveler wire and cap that, and we're just gonna let that one be. We're only gonna be using the black and the red today, and these have some twists on them, so we can go ahead and cut that off with some wire strippers. That's those. And Thomas, this is gonna be a 14-2 wire, solid.
Okay.
As you can see, these ones have gotten fried a few times. That's why you should always turn the power off. So cut that, go to 14-2. And you can determine what size wire you have if you're not familiar, is you want this wire, when you go to strip it, can't fit through in there. That's nice. Okay, Thomas, now it's your turn. So use the snips, cut that little copper piece off. Don't cut off, yeah, just cut off as little as you can. That's not gonna work for you because I arced them up. See how it's kind of blown out there?
Yeah.
Let me see if I have a better pair. The point of cutting it is to give it a nice new
Yeah.
contact point. Rather than having to take that curve out of it, you fatigue the metal. You could get away with it, but I like a nice solid. So here, I'll hold.
So you want me to strip it more?
Yeah, strip it some more. You want about 1/2 inch.
Like that?
Yep. Beautiful.
Cut.
That's good.
Okay.
Now would be a good time to inspect the wire, see if there's if there's been any damage. Looks pretty good to me. Box is a little dirty, but we're gonna need to access that screw back there, if you could see that, where the bare copper wire is coming in. That's gonna be your ground wire. So we're gonna loosen that up a little bit. And we're gonna start by attaching this green wire, which is the ground, to that. So Thomas, you wanna
unscrew that?
Yeah, unscrew that clamp screw back there.
Okay, do you want me to vacuum this out or is that fine?
I think it's fine. I would say just until it's loose, maybe a little under 1/4 of an inch. You can keep going. That thing's probably 1.5 inches long.
Oh.
That's probably good. So Thomas backed that screw out a little bit, and now we are going to attach our ground wire. So here's our straight wire here. You want to put a curve on this, like so, just a little hook. And when you put your hook, you want this side to be on your right side, if this makes sense, because when you tighten the screw that this ground wire is going to clamp on, it's going to torque this around. Whereas if you put it like this and turned, it will back this wire out. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
You want to put the hook on the screw in the direction that you're going to be turning the screw. So, I guess you could always just turn it that way or that way, but it does matter more on the sides. So we're gonna hook this in there. Through all the make sure it's not interfering with anything. Okay, you got a screwdriver? No need to torque it too much, but that's a pretty good connection on that ground wire. Okay, so this is a stranded wire here. Do you see that? It's a different gauge than the solid. And with stranded wires, we're not going solid to solid, we're going solid to stranded. You can go straight in. There's no need to twist it together like you would with 2 solid wires. So we're gonna throw this wire nut on here. And you can feel when it starts to snug up a little bit, and the wires will start twisting around one another. That's about all we want to do. Now Thomas's turn. And the wire nuts with those little wings on the end, those are the best.
Okay.
Does it feel like it's threading on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels beautiful. Now, since this is a metallic box, I recommend using electrical tape on all connections. Even this one here that was existing. Oh, we got a third one for the neutral. That's pretty solid. I don't think we need to tape those, but these ones, which are also solid, I always tape them. You never know if it rattles loose or something. So let me grab some electrical tape. So with this 3-way wire that we omitted, not that there'll be power running to it, but it's just safe. You can rest easy, knowing that your connections are secure and protected. And when you're twisting the tape around the wire nut, go in the direction that you turn the wire nut, which is always righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So get a nice straight section here. You can start on the wire itself and just wrap it around. I'm going to. Okay, Thomas. Remember to, you want a nice starting point, get those wires together. How irritating is it that I'm showing you the correct way, meaning it's going to take 2 or 3 times longer?
Yeah.
But if you ever have to service the switch in the future and there's for some reason a bare wire showing and it hits that metal box, that will arc up and give you quite the scare. Look at that.
Awesome.
Like you've been doing it your whole life. So, don't just stuff the wires back in the box all haphazardly. Just kind of a nice fold down and a fold up. And when possible, it probably doesn't matter, especially with these secure connections and the wire nuts are taped. I always like to have them pointing upwards. It just seems cleaner that way, despite how messy this box is. Okay, see how clean that looks?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's about where it's going to go. We really lucked out because these wings here are going to sit on the wall, keeping this nice and flush. So now that Thomas has both screws securing the switch, we'll check for level. Now we're ready to move on to the outlet. Double check both, just in case, but. Okay, so that's dead.
Yep.
Now pull it out and just make note which side goes where.
Oh, so it's another double.
Yeah, this is a.
Weird wire.
No, it's pretty typical.
Oh,
It's less work. It's actually a lot of fun to do.
okay. So the white's on the left side. Oh.
Don't, yeah, keep that as it is, and we'll wire it back up the same way. You could tell that these are professionally wired because you would never see a homeowner doing that. That's good enough. So, let's grab an outlet. So here's the outlet we're going to be replacing, or using to replace. These modern outlets come with these holes in the back, and you would put your wire in there and not have to tighten it with a screw. Those rectangular slots are the release, so if you have to remove it, you put a small screwdriver in this rectangle, and theoretically the wire should pull out. I don't like to use those very often. It's probably an old school mentality, but. So we'll stick with the screws. The back is labeled pretty clear. White wire goes with the white screws, or silver, and your hot goes to the brass. So Thomas is going to wire it up exactly how it was.
Do I do top or bottom?
Either or, just match the side. you can kind of want to get that wire in there. So there's some stops. See that when you're tightening it, your wires should be seated on that pretty nicely.
Okay.
So you ready?
Yep.
You might want to, no, or Phillips is fine, or square. Square's the best.
Oh, is that a square?
Yeah, it's a square number 2. Nope, it's a square 1. I love a square bit. Before you put it in the box, tighten down all the screws. Don't leave any loose. Okay.
This is hard. There we go.
Okay, now before we get too far ahead of ourselves, there's a ground wire in here, which would be nice to attach to that, but we don't have any wire on us. So since the ground wire is connected to the box here, it's sort of an old school way of wiring it. We do not need to put a ground on the outlet itself, since when these tangs are connecting to this, it will make a grounding contact. Do you see how that is? So that's where your ground wire goes. But since there's not one loose for us and I don't have any extra wire, this making contact with this will have to do. But there's no harm in that. So Thomas, I think we're ready to wrap some electrical tape around the outlet to protect the screws from touching any of the metallic box or your hands when you go to put it in the wall. You got to kind of work around the screws. And don't forget about the bottom ones.
Oh, should I tighten in the ground?
That's a great idea. Here you go. Oh, you got one? Isn't that square bit nice?
Yeah. I wish everything was like
I know. I never use Phillips except for drywall, I guess.
Okay. Is that good?
That looks good to me.
Cool. Cool. Nice.
No bare metal exposed, and now you're ready to remember to push those wires back in.
Yeah, that's nice. It's square.
And just, work with it a little bit.
Okay.
Eventually it will sit flat if it hits the wall.
Yes. There's a strong start.
You're a real smart feller. You could have said, I know.
Oh. Is that fine, you think?
It's your house. Is it? Well, you're already doing more than any professional electrician will do.
Killing myself.
Don't overthink it. If it's
Alright, that's fine.
a hair out of level, you will
That's
never
fine.
notice.
Alright.
I mean, the thing's what, 2.5 inches?
Oh my god.
Ooh, quite a bit there, Thomas.
Yeah. Alright, I think it's good. My eyes say it's okay.
So now Thomas is going to put the plate cover on the outlet, and let's go ahead and try it on. Okay. Don't snug it up too much, they do break. So an old electrician's trick you can do is make your screw slot perfectly vertically level. You may have to back it off a little, or if you think you can get one more turn in without breaking it. This just cleans it up a little bit, makes it look like a professional job. I've seen a lot of houses where the screw slots were in every which direction and it just looks sloppy. You know what I can do to that? That's a good job. For a complete list of tools required for this tutorial, take a look in the description below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe and leave any questions in the comments section. Until next time, goodbye.